I had to pause on this because this is a topic that comes up a lot. And it's a weird argument. I do not understand this argument. I've had many debates with people about this. There's this weird notion that by just going to college, you are more intelligent, more skilled, and I guess more qualified to talk about or to engage in certain activities relative to someone else who might just learn the exact same thing. I remember a couple years ago, I was debating this guy. He was an engineer. And we were talking about college. He's very pro-college. I'm very anti-college. And I said to him, before college existed, how did people learn things? He didn't really give me an answer. I think he knew the answer. He didn't want to be incorrect. And my answer was, people probably learn things through apprenticeships, or you just did something long enough until you worked out the kinks. Basically, you guessed and checked. You did trial and error until you figured something out. Obviously, in every single field, that's not going to work out. But if it came down to something like math, you probably just test things out as much as you can. And by you testing things, you eventually get the results you want. Once you get the results you want, you now understand, hopefully, how that thing works so you can replicate it. You don't need college to learn. You don't need school to learn. Society tells people that they need these things so that way people can become reliant on these institutions or these structures. You do not need them. I remember also saying to him in our debate, take two people who are teaching physics, who want to understand physics. One guy goes to college. He barely reads 5 books throughout all of college in this hypothetical. Like, he's a complete slacker. He does the bare minimum. He gets by because his teachers are all easy. He gets like a B in every class. He gets a degree. Now take another guy. He doesn't go to college, but he's very enthusiastic about physics. He reads 70 textbooks, goes to all the top not physicians, but physics, I guess, mentors, picks their brains about physics, asks them very specific questions. Who do you think is more knowledgeable when it comes to physics? And he said, oh, well, the person that went to college is more knowledgeable. So you think that the person that barely read any books and didn't take his physics learning seriously is more knowledgeable and more skilled than the person who's went to all the top mentors and the person who's read exponentially more books solely because the other person went to college. If that is your argument, then that just means to me that that going to college is the means of being smart, not actually being smart, not actually objectively knowing things, which to me is just disingenuous. And I think that's what a lot of these people tend to lean to. They tend to say, oh, if you don't go to college, you're not qualified. Now, in reality, if there were two people, one's a surgeon that went to, like, say, med school, the other person is not a surgeon that went to med school, but say, for example, he or she learned from all the top surgeons in the entire planet, understands biology like the back of their hand, has read every single book about medicine, about biology, about whatever type of surgery they're doing, then yeah, wouldn't it make more sense to go to the person who's more qualified based on what they know and what they can do? Of course, that person might not be the doctor that went to med school. It might just be the person that can do the job much better, right? People don't see it that way. So it's kind of sad because I think if people did see things that way, people would be more motivated to teach themselves, and they'd understand that you can just learn things on your own. You don't need a teacher to teach you. You can be your own teacher and just learn. I mean, obviously you can learn from YouTube nowadays. You can go talk to people who are in that field. There's ways to learn, but college and institutions does not need to be the way you learn. And it's certainly not the best way to learn, in my personal opinion.